Ladies and gentlemen, where in the hell did you all come from?
Yay!
My goodness. We thought if we had 100 people here, we would be tickled to death. This is great. This is great. If you're a younger person and you came down to try to find out what the town used to look like years ago, you're in the right place. If you're an older person, you came down, you want to kind of reminisce a little bit by seeing what the town used to look like, you're in the right place. If you're here to see the Mel Gibson movie, you're in the right place, but you're about 6 hours too early. So, this is a kind of relaxed day today, okay? This is a laid-back thing. Concession stand is open. We're going to look at some pictures here up on our mini big screen. When we're done there, we're going to take a little break. We'll get rid of the screen so you can go back up on stage and look at stuff if you like. You can mingle, you can do whatever you want. We're going to have a good time here today. Today is the first event of Massillon's 175th anniversary birthday group of events. Our 175th birthday is known as the Centum Hemorrhoidal Lennial or something like that. What is it?
Quinceptuacennial. You'll never get it.
It is that thing. Whenever we do these shows, we like to at least have you learn one thing when you walk out of here. If somebody asks you something outside what you learned, you got to be able to tell them one thing you learned today, and whatever she said might be it.
Quinceptuacennial.
Whatever. I'd like to introduce to you Margie Vogt. Margie is the co-chairman of this group of events that's taking place all year long, of which this is number one. If you guys are any indication as to what them are going to be like, whoa, this is going to be a fun year.
Great year.
Yeah. Margie Vogt.
Rudy, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to introduce a man who's been a very dear friend since the early 70s when he was president of City Council and I was council clerk. And it's a good thing we've stayed good friends all these years because we work together almost every day now. He's the president of your Massillon Area Chamber of Commerce, and he's the other half of this co-chair team for Massillon Celebrates 175. Mel King. Any words of wisdom for you?
Does he have a microphone or does he have to talk into your chest?
No, I'll get the microphone right now.
Sorry, Mel.
This is really the second thing that has gone on at the 175th celebration. I'm going to count the banners that went up on Lincoln Way last week as the first part. These will be up and down Lincoln Way and the side streets to remind everybody of what's going on in this full year celebration of our 175th anniversary. We think this is going to be a lot of fun. The first run of the Massillon Alive brochures is out. It's got the listing of the 175th events. We encourage you all to get a copy of that so you know what's coming up. Please take a look at this. We think we've got a whole host of things, that there's something that applies to everybody, from the speaker series, which will be 12 events, of which this is the first, to some outdoor things, to just a whole host of cultural and entertainment activities that we think will be the right way to celebrate the 175th anniversary of our hometown. I've always told people that I thought that Massillon, Ohio is different than any other place on the face of the earth because there's a culture here. There has been over the years a group of people in this community that I think have made this town different than almost any others. And I think it's the reason why there are even people sitting in the balcony here. May I make a confession?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to make a confession on behalf of the 175th committee. We put together all these programs, but to be perfectly honest, to be perfectly honest with you, we didn't know what the turnout was going to be like. It was correct in saying that if we got 100 people here, we would be very happy, and look at all these people that are here. And I think that is testimonial of the fact that Massillon is alive, and we appreciate you coming here. Now, on the one hand, Rudy and Margie were worried about what they would do if nobody showed up. Before we started, now they're worried about what they're going to do since there's all these people here, but that's going to be their problem, not yours. We appreciate very much you coming here. This is just going to be a real hoot. Rudy was a little ahead of me in high school. Margie was way behind us in high school. And I think this is going to be just a whole lot of fun. Up on the stage, I ran into a very dear, longtime friend of mine who came here, and he said he has a problem remembering stuff. He wanted to come to this event, but he had forgotten about it, and I guess he was up at the library, and he made a comment to his wife. He said, "Why are all these cars parked downtown?" To which Judy said, "Well, all those people are going to the Lincoln Theater to see that program that you wanted to see but couldn't remember." So, Ed, I hope you enjoyed the show. And now the movie, folks.
Now it's an honor for me to introduce the man. Is that me? It's an honor for me to introduce the man who conceived the idea of celebrating our quinceptuacennial. And he's often, I practiced last night, and he's also the man who has conceived so many of the ideas that have brought our community to the...
You have a pacemaker or what?
He thought of so many of the ideas that have made our community, brought us to the renaissance that we're enjoying now. Thank you for your dedication to the community. Mayor Frank Chiccanelli, would you like to say something?
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You know, it's really hard to follow someone like Rudy over there. You may not have to go to the movie, just have him as your entertainer the rest of the afternoon. You all laugh our heads off. On behalf of the city of Massillon, we welcome you to officially open 175th anniversary celebration. What a treasure of a community that we live in. If you were born and raised here, you understand. If you moved here, you understand. But this community really is something special, and it is getting better. And all of you play a role in that every day. We're made up of a lot of different types of people, different cultures, different parties. And we all come together, and I think that's what really makes Massillon special. We all can come together and enjoy one celebration. You only have one 175th birthday, so we're going to make it one that you are not going to forget. When we first I hatched this idea, I went to two people that I have worked with through the years, that I have a lot of faith and confidence in, and that's why I approached Margie, approached Mel, over there, the older guy. And these two individuals have served their community in many ways, so we're really pleased to have them. They have a committee that's working very diligently. I'm sure a lot of those members are here today. So we're really excited. And you are going to be pleased throughout the whole year. We have a lot of scheduled events. There are brochures, I'm sure, here that you can see all the things that we have planned. And anybody that says there's nothing to do in Massillon really doesn't know what they're talking about. Just wait till this year, and in the future there's a lot more coming. So on behalf of the city council, and all the City Hall family, welcome, and let's get it started. Thank you. God bless you.
You won't be so happy when you get done seeing what we're going to show today. Hello. We working? Is that it? We go now?
We go.
Commercials out of the way first. All these events that are happening this year cannot happen without the help of sponsors, financial sponsors. Today's sponsor is actually a new company in Massillon, a company called Metropolitan Bank and Trust. They're opening up. They had confidence enough to open a new office in downtown Massillon. They also had the good sense to hire me.
Oh yeah.
And we also would like to, and by the way, for those of you interested in history, we're in the old Long's Men's Shop building. We'd also like to thank Home Appliance for use of the TVs and video equipment today. Go down and see Jack. They're now used equipment. Maybe he'll make you a deal. I'd like to thank Milepost Productions for the use of the screen here. I'd like to thank Bill Slater for doing all of the technical work and everything. And is that enough of the prelim?
We're tired of
Let's do it.
commercials.
Let's do it. I'd like to start with this guy. The ugliest sign Mr. Mayor Massillon's ever had. Of course, this is the old Stark Drive-In Theater. Just like Dorothy says in The Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. And it's right here in Massillon, Ohio. What does Massillon have to offer? What?
Move on.
I'm sorry. Check them tapes. Massillon. Joe Rubin says you can buy those things at his place of business.
That's a weak connection.
All right. Massillon, 1826, which was 175 years ago. Why we're doing this hemorrhoidectomy thing celebration. Massillon was a canal town initially. A gentleman by the name of James Duncan, who lived in the Kimball area, was instrumental in getting the canal to come through the Tuscarawas Valley along the Tuscarawas River. Of course, he and Skinner and some of the boys up there, and Henry were smart enough to buy some land on either side of the river, in canal land. They built their warehouses and everything. And again, this is a picture of the canal as it went through Massillon. Oh, wait a minute, I have special effects. Where are they? Hey.
Usually you're not allowed to
Fancy.
have these in the theater, but today it's okay.
Yeah. This is the canal as it went through Massillon. Right back in here, you can go there and go see Joey at Cobbers today. This would be Lincoln Way in the background. The canal was, of course, we were the wheat city. The canal went through Massillon. It was very profitable until about 1850s. The railroads came along. Canal business kind of fell by the wayside. The remnants of our canal kind of disappeared in about 1913. We'll show you that later.
Now this
What
would
the hell is
really have the horn for it, because we're going to play some trivia. I'm going to interrupt Rudy. He thinks this is his show, but that wasn't part of practice. You don't do that.
I'm sorry.
Whenever I see something up here that I have a trivia question about, I'm going to honk the horn at him. And I have a trivia question about how this microphone works, about the canal. Now this is a multiple choice question, so everybody has a chance to win, and as you can see, I have fabulous prizes, but I do have lots of them if you don't think it's fabulous. Here's the question.
You got one less prize, by the way.
You didn't answer a question yet. When John Quincy Adams rode a canal packet through Massillon, he A, spoke from a dock at the public landing, B, stayed at the Erie Hotel, C, smoked Massillon-made cigars, or D, chose not to interrupt his card game to greet the hundreds who gathered to see him. Who's my first guinea pig? Come on. B? That is an incredibly wrong answer. Give him a pencil. You have to really... D? It was D. You got to run some pencils back there. They won't cheat you. Just give them if they said they got the right answer. He chose not to interrupt his card game. Never even got out of the canal.
This is easy. All you got to do is say A, B, C, or D.
They won't get this so easy.
Back in the 1840s, 1850s, the coin of the realm for local communities, Massillon included, were items like this. These were banknotes from the Bank of Massillon. Up until the Civil War, the value of your money was only as good as the reputation of your bank. So the farther away you went from your town, the less your money was worth. These items were replaced with national banking regulations in the 1860s when a national currency was developed.
Trivia question, and again it's multiple choice. What was the Friendly Association for Mutual Interest? A, was a co-op formed by the Wellmans and Atwaters when they built their warehouses along the canal. B, it was a communal society. C, it was a gambling syndicate in Columbia Heights. You guys probably know about that.
My people.
Your people. Or it was the first banking association in Massillon. B, who said B? It is the correct answer.
Bailey, you got it right.
Oh, well, John Sparks, for heaven's sake. He's the leading historian in town.
Yeah, balcony. If you're loud enough, you can answer too. Well, big letters, go like this. Go C, A.
Don't fall out of the balcony while you do that.
Okay. Turn of the century, early Massillon. Guys like this floating around. That would be old Jake Coxey. There is, by the way, going to be a program later on in the summer as part of the celebration that goes with cops, goes more in depth about Jacob Coxey. Hey Jake, we tore down your house, man.
Don't harass the man, but I have a question about him. What was the unusual name of Coxey's son?
You said I know.
Legal tender.
All right.
Julie, you get to go to the balcony.
Hey Julie.
Somebody down here got it too. It was legal tender.
Hey, she's good and she's loud too. Legal tender Coxey, yes. Back in his era, turn of the century, late 1890s, early 1900s, if you were to roam around Massillon, if you'd had milk delivered to you, it might have come to you in the old Prince Horn dairy wagon. And the picture is like that. It's not totally out of focus. Jan Prinzhorn's in the crowd. This was kind of her family. If you bought furniture at the Massillon House Furnishing Company, where's my special effects? Every time you honk that horn, I forget my special effects. If you bought some furniture from Massillon House Furnishing Company down on, I believe, 1st Street or 2nd Street Southwest, they might deliver it to you in an old horse-drawn wagon like this. If you needed groceries like everybody did, we didn't have Atzinger's or big fancy stores like that. We had Heckert's, little neighborhood stores. You go into Heckert's and you buy watches or tulips or whatever. You could stop at the C.A. Wendling Company and buy some bananas right on a stick. Buy some seed packets for your gardens. You could stop over at Schwarm's. Schwarm's was right on Lincoln Way, where the Animal House was, which is the building that was just renovated for BWS Outlets. And Schwarm Brothers grocery store. And again, the inside, if you went in there, you bought it right off the shelf, folks. If you needed lunch meat, it wasn't prepackaged. They went in and butchered a cow or something for you and wrapped it up for you to take it home. You could buy a big squash like this guy got right here, or buy onions at the counter. Schwarm's was also a pretty prominent family in town. They also had a bar that I don't know the name of it, but it was over facing the Tremont side. This would have been the inside of Schwarm's.
My turn.
What
How
is that
about a
thing?
question just for the balcony?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Great.
Are they beer hounds up there? I have a beer
Are they
question.
sober?
One group of Massillon men rarely drank draft beer, and they smashed every beer bottle they drained. Who were they?
Don't find anything.
You already won a prize.
No, this is for the balcony.
Well, we're going to tape this guy's mouth shut down here.
Anybody in the balcony know? Give that man a prize. They were the glass blowers. Glass blowing was an important industry in Massillon, 1880s to 1923.
A lot of the bars in Massillon would have their beer delivered to them not only in bottles, but also in containers like this from the old Schuster Brewery Company. The old oak casks of beer here. Schuster Brewery was down, well, look at it here. You can see the horses coming out here with a delivery wagon. This is in the vicinity of where Ohio Drilling is in town. In the 20s, it looked a little like this. The People's Coal Company, Knee-High Bottling Company. One of the gentlemen here said he had a business in the drive-thru right next to Ohio Drilling down there. You could stop in to see Burt Hankins, as in Hankins Road. Buy some newspapers. This was a wartime picture. You could see the stars in the window. I guess you would buy those stars. I'm not sure. It looked like they were selling some stars there to show that you had someone in the service. You can stop by and see the boys at Bloomberg's, buy some clothes. Of all my pictures, Bloomberg's is the only one that had a 2-story glass front in the front of it. So they had merchandise up there as well as on the first floor for sale. If you were looking for some entertainment back around the turn of the century, you could stop in at the Massillon Athletic Club. This building is still standing. There's now a dance studio in there. Before that, there was a Taekwondo casket place. No, Taekwondo. It's two separate things. Taekwondo, and then a casket place. And then Carlos Cooler was in there with Mastercraft carpet. You can see the footballs up here that were built on top of the one of the things that hold flags up, flagpoles.
I have a football question about
Shoot.
this. When the Pro Tigers played home games at Sunnyside Field, which was on the grounds of the old state hospital, the opponents used a unique locker room facility. This is multiple choice, so somebody can get Fabulous prize. A, they used one of the unoccupied cottages at the hospital. B, they used the Conrad Hotel, just a 1-mile streetcar ride from the field. C, they used the athletic club where they could swim instead of shower. Or D, they used the public restrooms under the old City Hall Park.
D.
Public restrooms? Wrong. Give her a prize. She was brave.
Yeah, get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah, that was a bad answer.
Who's that? I heard some small boys up here who said that. Hotel.
The hotel, that is the correct answer, and I know that because Ted Brannon used to come here from Dayton and ride the train here and then use the streetcar to get back and forth. Your turn.
Cool, cool.
Culver's good.
Also, back in those days, you could stop at the old Theatorium, which was a Nickelodeon, a one-reeler. You put your nickel in and you watched it. Here they were showing The Black Hand. You were up on the heights. This movie theater was downtown. If you were to go down to the end of First Street as we know it, Mill Street at this time, to where the railroad tracks are, you could stop at a place called the Vendome Hotel. Stop in there. Also a bar and a restaurant. And this later became, any suggestions? Rizzo's Steakhouse, yes. Across the street from this was the old Pennsylvania Depot. No, the slide is not crooked. It says Massillon there. That Vendome Hotel you saw was right here. This was the building that those idiots broke into and...
No editorial comments, but I have a question about that corner.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You have to listen to this pretty carefully. What did Christian Schott and J.H. Grapevine have in common at the turn of the last century? Come on, take a wild guess. Booze? Who said booze? We've got a winner over here. Wilma, good job. They both own saloons, and actually Grapevine Saloon was at that corner.
Why would Wilma know that they own the saloon? Wilma, you know.
She heard bad stories about things in Massillon.
It's amazing how different people can look at a picture and see different things. I showed this picture, for example, to a gentleman named Ernie Russell. And Ernie Russell was a black gentleman. I don't know that that had a bearing on it, but the way he said it was, a little tear came to his eye when he saw this. He said when he saw this picture, his parents, his family, when they came up here from Alabama to work locally, and his people, as he said, this was the first view they saw when they got off the train. I thought that was kind of a touching comment that he made it. So, you know, people look at this and see different things. If you were a lady at the turn of the century, you could work at a place like this, the old Central Telephone Exchange. Just somebody made a call, you just pull a wire out of here and just stuck it up there in that hole and probably listened in on it. Nice S. Snyder furnace over here in the corner, or stove. Who's this guy? Anybody have it? Well, you're looking at a sugar bowl. Any idea who this guy might be? It's not John George, no. No, that was Peter George. John George was the one on the other side, yeah. No, this was Police Chief Ertl. Police Chief Ertl. Actually, Massillon's first police chief. Prior to 1906 or 7, the chief law enforcement officer was the marshal. So this guy was the first police chief of Massillon. He was around for a long time.
I have a question about him. Since he was around so long, they might
Honker
know.
has another question.
This is so obnoxious.
He's got ribbons on.
And Julie,
Fabulous prizes.
Fabulous prizes.
introduce your assistant.
I'm sorry, I didn't. She just kind of popped out of the audience. This is Julie Blacklead. She's the executive director of Your United Way, and she's one of our dedicated committee members. They're all a wonderful committee. The Massillon Band often accompanied the Pro Tigers to their games. Why did their director, Police Chief Ertl, wear a shako? Now, I don't want any bad answers, so I'll give you some choices here. Drum major, give it. But now, what's the shako? Was it an early crowd control device? B? It was the hat. These people are too good.
Oh, you guys are too good. There he is, right here. When you said shako, I thought it was a little dance routine. Police Chief Ertl, with his thing on.
The whole third row had it right.
This was the Massillon Band. I have a question for you.
Uh-oh. This wasn't part of
That's right. Police Chief Ertl was not the director of the band. He was the drum major. This was the Massillon Band. Prior to that, this was the Massillon Military Band. Prior to that, this was the Massillon Harmonica Band. They were all started by
Higner.
Very good. Oscar. Yes.
Thank you.
Right. I thought I would stump her. I thought this would be the one fact everybody would learn today. Oscar
Oscar's great-grandfather was in the band, so my husband's great-grandfather
Is
was
that right?
in that band.
Oscar Pudner, a name for the ages, was the director of this organization. I thought I would fool you. I'm proud of you. Talk about enterprise. Have you seen Massillon, Ohio? Just a little airplane view card here. You were late.
I was still trying to figure out how many more things you're going to throw at me that I'm not expecting.
I didn't even throw you off the track.
Well, I see that we have an airplane here, so I have an airplane question, and the third row there, you're disqualified. What was the name of the airplane that was manufactured right here in 1927? Starwing, we got it. Did John Sparks whisper that answer to you?
Starwing.
Not fair. They tested it out at Noble Field, which is, of course, right across from where Shady Hollow is now.
Enterprise in Massillon. The biggie in Massillon for a long time was a company called the Russell Company. This is a picture of their facilities. This would be Erie Avenue over here, the old canal, Wetmore Street, 3rd Street. This whole complex in here was all the Russell Company. And Russell was an internationally known manufacturer of agricultural equipment. Russell Company made steam engines like this, and threshers, and these things were humongous pieces of equipment. Russell Company prospered until the rise of International Harvester and kind of the development of gasoline tractors kind of replaced these steam engines. What's that? Traction engines. Excuse me, they were called traction engines, powered by steam. Thank you. Thank you. There's a group of collectors in town. If Earl Sheets is in the house, there will be a Russell show. Back there, there will be a Russell show coming up where they're going to have actual pieces of equipment. Get a brochure, you'll see when it is. Those guys collect this equipment that weighs 25,000 pounds. I collect little pieces of paper that weigh ounces. And this was their logo right here, the boss. This particular piece of paper and others like it that you'll see were called Victorian trade cards. Back in the Victorian era, 1877 to 1893, this was the junk mail of the time. If you went and bought something at a store, they would give you a piece of paper with their product on it. It's beautiful stuff. But this was a piece for the Russell Company in Massillon with all their offices. Columbus, St. Louis, Pittsburgh. They were all over the place. Another major manufacturer in Massillon was the Hess-Snyder Company. And again, a trade card from Hess-Snyder, manufacturers of the Laurel heating stove. They also made pumps. Again, a lot of it's all farm-related equipment. Another manufacturer back in its infancy, early days here, was Republic Iron and Steel Company. Looks pretty primitive here, doesn't it? A lot of the buildings in town were built by stone from the Everhard Brick Company, or the Everhard Quarry. Quarry is what you run. Quarry is what you dig. Which was located down off of, over there.
Behind cable TV.
Behind cable TV. Margie mentioned the glass blowers earlier. Here's a company called Massillon Hollowware. I have no idea where these folks were. I never heard of them before. But all of a sudden I got 2 pictures from Massillon Hollowware. The boys out on a lunch break here. Of course, some of the more famous Massillon glass companies were the Reed Bottling Company over here. It's at Rhodes, Massillon Bottling Glass. And a lot of their customers, again, as Margie said, were the bars in town. So the more bars there were, the more people drank, the more bottles these guys built, the more people worked. They also made the glass canes that some of you may collect, that the glass blowers used to make things after their shifts. Canes and whimsies and those types of things. What's wrong with this picture?
Somebody did a bad job of coloring the buildings.
Well, besides that. Yeah, this little thing right here. That's an aerial view of Massillon back in the 30s or before that. And this little thing right here caused all kind of problems. And that's Tuscarawas River before it was straightened as it came through town. And what happened a lot was the downtown area would get flooded. Here's a picture in 1913, for example. This is, the river's in there somewhere. Okay? The rest of that's all flood. It wasn't just Massillon, but in the spring of 1913, March, all over Ohio, record snows, record rainfall caused havoc all over the place. In Massillon, the river again overflowed its banks. Here's a picture of Main Street here, Lincoln Way, heading back towards the river. The river would be up here. This was the water receding. if I were standing actually in front of my office right now, 50 years ago, and looking out the window, this is what I'd see. The square underwater. Just some of the storm debris here that gathered at the foot of the bridge. Here's a building on stilts here. I used to think this was quails. I was corrected. It's not quails. It's something else on stilts. This was the old Lincoln Way or Main Street Bridge right here. Here's a picture here of the photographer taking a picture of, again, of the receding floods.
I gave you enough break.
Yes, you
My
did.
turn
Jeez, I thought maybe
now.
your honker busted.
Massillon's first photographer, Abel Fletcher, who moved here just 4 years after the invention of photography, was an inventor himself. What did he invent? Paper negatives. We have 2 winners right here in the front row. Just think what a boost that was. No more metal photographs.
That was my daughter right between them.
Invented
She said, I don't know
paper
what the hell you're
negatives
talking
for
about.
photography. Before that, they were all metal, and he made a huge difference in the world of photography.
The problem never went away. Into the 30s, 1935, 1936, we still had floods downtown. This particular picture, you can see Carver's Cigar Store in there, the Boston store, which later became Blaumeiser Hardware, which is now the Senior Center, J.C. Penney building over here. 36. Thank you. Again, in 1936. These people are tough. You know that?
They know as much as we do.
I know it. I don't claim to be an expert, so you can correct me anytime you want.
I love that they're calling it out. That's
This
great.
is the square again, an old bus. The problem really wasn't resolved until the late 1940s, early 1950s, when this project was finished. It was a river and viaduct straightening. What they did is, you can see in this aerial photo, this is looking south. The river came in like this, made a big loop right up towards the downtown area. Came out here and went south again. What happened when it would, big rains and snows and everything, that water would just pile up and slow down, so there was no place for it to go except over its banks. So it would go into this whole area down here. So this project here, and again you're looking to the east now, again the river coming up in here, over that way. What they're doing here is they're cutting the channel right through here and eliminating that loop. This is also the brand new Lincoln Way Bridge, the brand new Tremont Street Bridge down here. When this land was filled in and reclaimed, that's where you have Town Plaza Shopping Center. It's why 1st or 2nd Street, whichever one it was, comes out, goes by the First American Bank. That's why it has a loop in it right there. This is where the Agathon ball field is right now. And it's going to be the rec center, of course, and the hockey rink. So we've reutilized that piece of land over and over again. I have no idea. Well, I know why this picture's in here. I don't have a slide projector. I always have to borrow a slide projector. This has nothing to do with Massillon. Yes, it does. This is Russ Bailey. He used to own Bailey's Flowers, taking a leap. We were playing golf in Georgia. What club were you using, Bailey?
I asked him to take it out, Russ.
That was 30 years ago. I figured you'd forgive me by now. Let's kind of take a drive around our town in different time eras. Let's stop at the bank and get some money like this lady's doing. You might want to hop on a streetcar, one going down South Erie, down to the Asylum, on what's called the Asylum Loop, where the streetcar used to go down, make a loop in the Asylum and turn back, come back this way. Or we might want to hop on one of the interurbans between Canton and Massillon.
There was one day when it wasn't a really good idea to hop on the interurban. Matter of fact, it was the weekend that the interurban line between Canton and Massillon was supposed to open. That was July 2nd, 1892. We were going to have our own version of the Golden Spike ceremony when the cars came in the middle and met, but the Massillon cars didn't show up. I'll give you some multiple choice reasons why. A, the old football rivalry again. Or B, the dynamo was installed backwards. Or C, it was 4th of July weekend and nobody would work.
B. Oh, B.
Boy, we got a bunch of B's. Some nice person was, I think it was a child who had his hand up back there. Give him the best prize.
Who said that? Nobody
stop down to the B&O depot and hop a train and take a ride around. Wait, you have another answer? I'm sorry, did we find the winner? Give Wendell a sucker. He didn't know the answer, he just wants a sucker. You can stop at the B&O and take a ride that way, or you could ride one of Fidelity's old buses, like I used to do when I was a kid, with a big guy named Tiny as your driver. Every big guy is named Tiny. What?
I have a Fidelity question.
Shoot.
You know, they've evolved now into a motor coach tour company, and I know they're standing at the back of the hall here. If Fidelity Tours drove you to the other town of Massillon, to what United States state would you travel?
Iowa.
Oh, we've got a bunch of winners over here. Iowa. You know, in 1980, their population was 38, but they have grown in the last census to 50. Iowa.
Cool.
50 people.
Cool.
Chance to say ours.
Fidelity's offices, you said, were up here at that time. Of course, you can see Lindy's. This was Moskin's at the time. I'm not sure if the pawn shop was there or not in the corner. Or you could just hop on your ass and drive around town.
I have no control over his part of the program.
What's wrong with that? This is a Massillon slide. That's from Albert Heisman Museum. That's from his family collection. And that's an ass. Or we could just get in the old flivver and drive around a little bit. Let's do that. Let's just kind of drive around different time frames. Oh, we might want to get some ice in case we want to have some drinks or something in the car. We might stop and see the boys at the old Massillon Ice Company. Anybody have any idea who this might be? Oh, it looks like Al Capone here.
Hope he's not here.
Former postmaster. Who is it? Willard Geis. Willard Geis
Yay.
is in that picture, yes. You might want to look good while you're driving around town, so you might stop down at the old Meek Segner Company and buy some clothes from Mr. Kofel, who was also a high school biology teacher.
We all had a little trouble in his class. I should have warned you about that one.
Pretty popular guy. Evidently he was a moonlighter. He was selling ties and such down at Meek Segner. What?
Move on.
Who is that guy? You might want to get something to eat on our trip. We might want to stop down at Millie's Diner. Or Hall's Diner. Or Smitty's Diner. As it was known. Or Smitty Millie's, as we called it. Of course, this is now the site of McDonald's. This was the old National Garment Company back here. Town Plaza Shopping Center there in the background. Or you could stop at Carmen's. Or you could stop down at the Tiger Town Lounge down here. Or the Central Lunch. Back in my drinking days, that's where we used to go at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's also a parking lot now for the senior center. And this is where the mural is.
Mural.
Mural.
You can't do that or Quinn
Mural. One's a cigar, one's a painting. I don't know what this, there's kind of a big heart-shaped imprint on the side of the building. I don't know what that used to be. Was it a bowling alley? Which one? You know? Is that the old Joe?
That was behind.
Other side? Okay, no fist fights, no fist fights. I'm sorry. Mr. Mayor, you were saying? No? Okay. Or you can stop at the Tiger Town Diner. Or Gattuso's Diner. Or Bill's Diner. Or, we don't have Lex. Be quiet. Or the Empire Diner, as it's now known, as it sits in Cincinnati, along with a couple other diners. This would have been Sears over here. This is now City Center. Western Auto, I just thought was a neat store. You could stop down at the Pendulum Bar.
I have a bar question.
A bar question? Shoot.
Where was the cemetery bar? And who would want to go there? Come on, you were so lively a minute ago. South Erie Street. You know, we're going to give him a prize, but it wasn't a bar. It was like a silt buildup in the old canal down
That's a
by the
trick.
cemetery.
That's a trick
I was just
question.
trying to see if you were all, thinking ahead to a drink
Trick
after.
question.
I didn't say we'd be honest.
Oh, the river broke down. That means we gotta fix it. If we'd have broke down in the vicinity of City Hall, we could have stopped over to Bratchy's and had them fix it over there. This is now, well, before Bratchy's.
I'm going to interrupt you again. Does anybody know what Fred Bratchy did before he operated a gas station? Baseball. He was a Major League Baseball player. Can anybody name a Massillon man who played professional ball for the Cleveland Indians? I heard Joe Sparma, and you could have a prize, but that's the wrong answer. Tommy Henrik was the Yankees. We've got Mike Hirschberger here. We got two answers right here. 61 through the 1970s. Mike Hirschberger.
Before Bratchy's service station was built, this house occupied the corner. Let's see if I can hit a reverse. I did, okay. And this is now the parking lot for Ernie's Bicycle Shop, right, which is right in there. If your car broke down a little further down Charles, you could stop down at the old City Tire Company and see Judy Fenstermaker and Barney Wallace later on, some of the boys. If you had a flat tire in there, you could go and buy one.
Only
Cash money. Cash money, no credit cards at this joint. In 1926, we had our centennial as opposed to our quadriennial thingy now. And we all, what is it?
Quincentennial.
Thank you.
They'll never get it.
And they had a big parade at that time. And many businesses, of course, made floats and decorated the joints. And this is what the boys at City Tire did. Real nice. Let's take a look at Massillon, Ohio, Main Street on a busy day. Again, all different time frames. Way back, a little after the turn of the century. You're looking at called Main Street here, Erie Street there, before the bank building was put here. So this is right at the square. Here is a picture of, again, Main Street again, Lincoln Way.
Since it became Lincoln Way, you've had your turn again. It was Lincoln Highway, and so there were markers about 1 mile, they were exactly 1 mile apart, the entire length of the highway across the country. Where is the only remaining marker that's visible? Oh, I had to get some easy ones in here to give you all a chance. It's in the museum's front yard.
Yeah, actually, when you leave here, go across the street, you'll see it. In a lot of these pictures, you'll see this same Main Street, but just as Barney said, it wasn't until the 20s, I forget exactly what date, that the Lincoln Highway was developed as a cross-country highway right through Massillon, and Main Street was renamed Lincoln Way. This is a glorified postcard view. You don't see one telephone pole, you don't see one wire. Everything looks nice and hunky-dory.
They did a good job in making this postcard.
This high-tech is getting me mixed up. I forgot to hit, I hit this instead of the button. Again, another view of this building right here, Hanson and Brat's shoe store here. The road kind of elevated here to go up over the canal. And as I mentioned earlier, the canal kind of stuck around until 1913. 1913 kind of finished it off with the floods downtown and everything. Prior to that, it was just more of a barge, slow freight type of thing. Mostly through town, it just smelled a lot. It was a good place for trash, garbage, drunks would fall in and it would smell bad. So the flood probably did us a favor by putting the canal out of its misery in 1913. Again, another view here. There's the road going up over the canal in 1906. This Edward Zinsmaster's clothing store in here. This building was Good Heart Clothing. That was torn down and replaced by this building. What's wrong with this picture? Right. It's
That's
not done
like
yet.
Bob Martin
It's
back
not
there.
done yet, right. You can see, well, look at the next picture here, you get an idea. 3 awnings here, 2 awnings here. They actually did a great job of matching the brickwork and everything. I wish we could get this to look back like this again. But yeah, this was built, this was Humberger's store back here on Erie. This is Erie Street, of course, Lincoln Way across the left. Great looking building here. This was, of course, offices up here. This was the German Deposit Bank. This was the Union National Bank. This was the Merchants National Bank. This was F.W. Woolworth's. When I was a kid, it was Woolworth. I used to work in there. And in fact,
peanuts there. You stole peanuts there.
I did. They used to sell the candy, you know, big long counter full of candy, and at the end of it was a big cashews. This big open thing of cashews with heat lamps on it. And as a kid, those were the two cleanest aisles in the store. Because I'd go right up each one of those and have a few cashews along the way. 5 and dime row. Again, Woolworth's over here, Neisner's, Newberry's, Kresge's, Rogers Jewelers when it was still in there. Again, a little further this way on Lincoln Way, you had a store called the Beehive Store, big department store. And then that was torn down and replaced by this guy, Zips, hamburger joint. Again, worst hamburgers in the world, one of the ugliest buildings in the world, and I'm sure, I hope nobody of you were in the Zip family. I'm in deep doo-doo. But yes, Zip hamburger joint. And again, you can see Zips here with the R fell off the end of hamburger already. But just to give you a little idea of what some of the downtown used to look for. And when we see one of the films later, you'll see some other good shots of this. Also on Lincoln Way in the 50s, 60s, you'd have the old Westland Theater over here. And again,
Make
the
sure
Beehive
they see
is still
what's on
standing.
the marquee.
What's on the marquee?
It
What's
says
say?
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras?
Julie's going to run a Mardi Gras for 175 this year, so on February 17th. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just had to interrupt.
You're great at these gratuitous segues into these other events. That's great.
All the come.
Of course, you had Bear's Furniture Store here. You also had Bernard's Furniture Store. You had Miller Furniture Store. You had Pride Furniture Store. You had White House Furniture Store. KFC Lodge was up here on the second floor. I never knew that Westland stood for West Lincoln Way. Duh. I just went there. If you remember Westland Theater, it had the plushest steps I ever saw. You go up to the bathrooms on the second floor. It was kind of an Art Deco thing, and they were real thick, red padded steps. You just wanted to fall down. I mean, it was just so nice. If you go a little further out to the west, you go out to where Main Street goes to the left, and Lincoln Way, or Worcester Street here, went to the right. Nice church there. There's a tire store there after that, I think. If you go a little further out the highway to 17th or 19th Street, you'd see the Texter House, as it's been called. It's called the Steese House here. The Villa, what's that called? Villa Hilltop. Let's turn around and go back downtown. J.C. Penney Company, south side of the street. J.C. Penney's is where you go in, you pay the clerk at the counter, you give her a $20 bill, she'd stick it in the tube, stick it in the pipe, it would get sucked up to the office upstairs, they would make change, they'd throw it back in the tube, it would get sucked back down to where you're at, and make you change. They're correcting me.
I guess you've been
These
correct.
guys are belligerent. It went up a wire. Well, how's come the one I have has suction cups on the end of it to fit into a tube?
I would have told you earlier, but I wasn't old enough to
Who are
remember.
these guys? Who are these guys? How about this? The Ideal Company. Is this what you're talking about? They also had things where you put the money in there and it gets sucked up a wire. Is that better? All right. Of course,
You know, Russ owes you. He can say anything he wants after
Yeah,
that.
really? Yeah, I got his picture up there. I owe him. This is, of course, the senior building over here now, the high-rise building, Duncan Place. And then when it was called the Ideal Building here, also was called the Hess Snyder Building at one time. Was later called the Ohio Merchants Bank Building. And what are these things? Right, those were the entrance to the public restrooms that were underneath City Hall. They're still there, Mr. Mayor. They're filled in with sand, but you can see the white tile walls underneath there. Ain't that fun? Also, if we're driving around, we might see the Grand Theater. Back when it was built, look at that Schwarb name up there again. The boys were everywhere. This was a vaudeville theater, Johnson's Dance Academy on the second floor.
I have a question about that building when it was the Grand Theater.
Okay.
In 1931, at the Grand Theater, they stopped the movie and gave everybody passes to go outside just for a few minutes and then come back in and watch the end of the movie. Why would you want to go out on the sidewalk in 1931? Not the president.
Haley's Comet?
They got a comet.
No, it's not the comet. Don't be fooled by imposters.
But they said it's a Merriment.
Okay, they get a prize for courage, but I did hear somebody say a funeral. We had a gangland assassination in Massillon, and there were 100 long, sleek black cars that drove through town, and everybody wanted to see it. So, and it was said that Al Capone was even in that funeral procession.
You're talking about my neighborhood again.
Your neighborhood, Bill
Perkins. Yeah,
Perkins.
Perkins, yeah. Right next to the Grand Theater, they built this joint, which was the Lincoln Theater, 1915.
They were both built in 15. I'm taking another turn right away.
A double honk.
Yeah, that's because I have a fun question.
Come on, balcony.
Old Heidelberg was one of the first movies that was ever shown in this movie house. Who was the star? Yes, we got a right answer right away. Lillian Gish.
Wow.
Whoa.
So quick. Actually, when you walk out of this building, if you look, there was a common wall between here and the Penny's store. Penny's was there, which is, of course, torn down now. Then there was this building. There was a brick wall that kind of separated the two, and it was one of the original walls from the old Grand Theater. I think you can still see it when you go out here. Here, just a picture that you can see both the Grand and the Lincoln Theater marquees at night in their glory. In downtown Massillon, 1935, 36, at night, Christmas time. Again, this is the bus station over here, which is where Sutter's Jewelers came to be later, which is where the Chamber of Commerce is now. This was a building right across the street. This was this was the old Merriment Piano Company back here. This building was torn down and replaced with this beautiful building here, First Savings and Loan Company. This was in the 30s. When I was a kid, I'd go in there and I'd go into the Hopple and Cassidy savings account thing. I'd go in there and I'd give these people all my money. I'd give Ed Rice right here. I'd give him my money.
Please here, get it back.
I'd give it to Catherine Kittinger. They'd give me a stupid little badge that says Bronco Buster.
You probably still have it too.
Is he back there?
Yes, he is. He's here somewhere.
He'd give me that. And then, of course, he got little plastic banks with a slot in them. You know, you put your money in and everything. So you go to Hoppy Savings. The fun thing was you go over there after you went to the shoe stores to look at your feet in the x-ray machine. In the late 50s, they went on a remodeling bridge and had to get up with the times. This is what your office used to look like, by the way. And so they built this. And see, Mr. Mayor, your office is right here. This is now the City Hall Annex. If you go a little further out Lincoln Way, you can stop at the Bannisters and buy some chicken. You go a little farther from the Bannisters and you go, well, the Acme Dairy. This was their new plant on Lincoln Way in the 30s. Their old plant was still over on Parkview. So one of these boys might have delivered a little different than the Prinzhorn picture earlier. They also built a place called the Acme Dairy Bar, which later on became Candle House. Had the best roast beef and gravy and mashed potatoes. Nasty stuff, but you could sit there and look out the window. It was great. The Kendall House. And then you can see right here, this is the edge of the old Acme Dairy, which when this picture was taken, that would have been, any idea? Avenue Paint Store. Very good, Avenue Paint Store. Let's go back to the square, head south. You're looking south on Erie. Glorified postcard view, early 1900s. The biggest building that you see on the right, very prominent building. Here it is again. It's called the Opera Block. Again, looking north. Here's the Opera Block here. Home of lots of little businesses. First Savings is still in there. Paul Von Gutten's Bank is in there. F.W. Arnold in there. Swaney's Tavern was in there later.
Mayor's offices were on the second floor?
Yeah, the mayor's offices were on the second floor. There was...
And why was there an elephant on the third floor?
Huh?
Why was there an elephant on the third floor? This guy knows the clown stuff. We had a circus based in town, it was the Wetter Circus, and they couldn't afford, well, he got it right away. These people have been studying.
Yeah,
That was supposed to be a tough one.
I know it.
The Wetter Circus couldn't afford to be rained out one more time, so they actually prodded the elephant up the big stairway.
Which may explain why they removed the top 2 floors of this building and then put a new roof on it. And then for many years, it was Englehart's Music, it was Chick's Restaurant, it was Western Union. Was the Cootie Club in there? Not sure. But there were a whole bunch of other different businesses in there. And I used to say, and now it's a parking lot. But that's not true anymore. Now it's a bus garage. It's where the SARTA building and parking deck is now. All right. This building is still standing right here. Yes, this is where the parking deck and the Hampton Inn are located. This was another one of those pieces of junk mail. This was a tailor that was in that building. J.C. Lowe, merchant tailor, that was in the Opera building. If you go across the street from the Opera Block, you could go into Maltzley's and have a cherry phosphate. If you were looking for a room, you might stop at the old Erie Hotel. All right. They had a problem. It burnt. What?
I have a question about this building. In 1869, Peter Seiler's factory was located right here on South Erie Street, and they manufactured 38,000 of these. Oh, it was a very obscure question. Cigars. He got it because of the smoking stuff up on the top.
These people are too good. This building right here is the edge of something called Seiler Terrace. Buildings that are still down on Tremont, like 3 or 4 apartments in a row. Hence the name from the Seiler Cigar Company. If you went far enough south on Erie, you stopped at the old Massillon State Hospital and saw some of the beautiful Gothic buildings they had there, including the old water tower here. Let's come back into town for a second, maybe go around City Hall area. Location. City Hall Park with the gazebo. Let's see, Mel, that's would be your family's over there. MPL Kirchhofer Drugs right there on the corner. After it was Shucker's Druggist. If you're downtown, about 1906 or 7, you'd have seen the old City Hall, which is new, in this building. Oh, I was just going to shoot something to you. Honked. That was a preemptive honk.
Oh, my honker's wearing out. This is sad.
That was pretty late. What?
Go ahead and shoot.
Oh, okay. Was that an accident?
No, I have a question, but you can finish.
Okay. Mayor's office right there, by the way. That would be Alf Druhard, right there, if any of you know the Druhard family.
Now can I have a turn?
Shoot!
Okay.
Honk it!
I have
Honk
a
it.
mayor question, and
mayor
I'm going to
question.
kind of direct it
We
over
got one
here.
here.
What Massillon mayor was impeached? Well, we know this one wasn't. I know you probably don't know. Was it A, Jacob Coxey, for allowing communists to convene here? Was it B, Herbert Vogt, no relation, for allowing gambling and corruption? C, was it James Duncan for promoting prohibition in 1830? Or was it D, MPL Kirchhofer, Melville's uncle, for changing the names of the streets?
C.
Who yelled C? You have to go to the balcony again. It's the wrong answer, but you get a prize for being so bold. Nobody said it yet. A is wrong. Whoever said B, you were being polite, you were being very quiet, assuming that my relative was not impeached, but he was.
It was the vote. It was your relative. Probably got them with them damn horns.
Joel's
He
relative.
probably went honk around City Hall all the time. This would have been Massillon's finest. Mrs. Slicker, if you're in the house, there's your dad. Captain Woods. There would be Police Chief Earl. He got taller and bigger.
Ooh, I almost missed my police
Oh,
question. Oh,
What?
I want to know what was the name of the Massillon Police Department paddy wagon? Oh, they're pretending they never rode in it.
Shamu.
Shamu. No. No takers? He gets a prize for, at some point you get a prize for that. It was Black Mariah. Did somebody say it over here? Wilma, did you get it again? All right, we'll give her a
Was that
prize.
Wilma again?
No, it was,
Maybe. She got the bar question earlier, right?
yeah, she did.
She got picked up in the bar and taken to jail in the Black Mariah. We know like that. Also downtown, you'd be Massillon Fire Department number 1. This horse is named Charlie, the back of one of my postcards.
But what was the name of the fire department's first fire vehicle. I know we got some firefighters in the audience. We got it. The Vigilant.
Right.
No, Carac.
Oh, give that man a bigger prize. You're right.
What was it?
The
Cadillac.
Cataract was, they were both very early.
That was the fire chief who said that, wasn't it? Is that the fire chief up there?
Yeah.
The hell, you don't know what it is.
Well, we're going to have to give him the right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can't argue with him. This was number one. Of course, this was Archer's Buggy Shop over here on the right side. Downtown, Old City Hall, YWCA. I love this picture. The old bus station over here. Of course, these were torn down to make room for the new City Hall, which you see in this picture. You see the old City Hall here. You see the new City Hall over here. Of course, we all know City Hall is where City Council does its serious business of running the city.
He's getting a big kick out of this.
Where's the mayor? Is he looking at me?
Yeah, he is. He laughed real hard.
Did he
It's
laugh?
okay. He laughed.
1912. This was something called the Lion Crusade. Revival came to town. Any idea where this might be?
I know. We got him. Too bad you're not giving prizes.
No, that is not St. Mary's Steeple. That is not... what are you guessing?
No.
It's not
Jean,
History
good
South.
try. Give her a prize because she tried so hard.
Not the Massillon Cemetery. No. No. Yes. Yes. No. Yes. Yes. This was... That was the steeple of the North Street School, the old Massillon High School. There was the crusade, there was the steeple. This is the church, this is the steeple. What?
He's ignoring me.
I know, I was
about
in roll.
this. Oh.
Shoot.
I don't want to ruin your roll.
Okay, people in the back, we're here with prizes.
Yeah. Okay, she's going to the back with the prizes. What does crojocoblamoma mean? We're looking at the school picture here. Crojocoblamoma. Don't make me say it again.
175th birthday.
That is quinsepucennial.
Oh.
Oh, you didn't know this one at all. That was the name of...
What?
They say it's the high school, and that's a good clue. It was the name of the first yearbook for Massillon High School. They got the name by using the first letters of each of the teachers. There were 7 teachers, by the first letters of their names.
I like Oscar Pugner better. If you have to learn one thing, remember Oscar Pugner. This school again was replaced about 1914 by the new Washington High School, which is now gone. But this is where probably a lot of us went. Any idea what this thing is? No, it's not the public restroom. Yes, thank you. It was an observatory.
Good job.
That was built at the stadium. And I think out there, and I forget what year it was, 38, 39, something like that. I think out there you can still see the curved marks in the side of the hill, the stones where maybe the foundation was. But this, of course, was Tiger Stadium. Of course, the football team did its dynasty out here. And so did the Tiger Swing bands, of course, performed out here also. Were you in a band?
No.
Good. You can tell by the way you play that horn. Jeez.
I didn't have very good rhythm now.
Well, I'll say, geez.
Why did the stadium lights go out in 1946? Now, this is multiple choice. Give somebody a chance.
She was there.
She was there.
I think Wilma was there again when she came out of the bar.
So, was it a prank by a senior who wanted a romantic interlude? Was it B, Massillon was losing and the game was called and then we won in a later replay? C, it was a World War II blackout? Or D, Dyke Ford scheduled a trick lighting show? B, we got her. Wilma's wrong this time.
All right.
D is the correct answer. John, you missed one too. It was not a World War II.
What was it, Dyke Ford?
It was the trick lighting band show.
Dyke Ford, yes. He was one of the long-term Massillon band director. In fact, here's a picture of Dyke practicing a routine for the band.
Move on.
Move on, thank you very much. area of the new high school, you might stop in at Simple Park, back with its twin gazebos. Never mind, I was going to say something. Back to, I'm behaving myself. I bit my tongue. Simple Park with its twin gazebos, or you could have gone to the swimming pool at Simple Park. When you drive down into the park now off of Tremont and you look kind of back over your left-hand shoulder, that's the area that this park was in. Right now the walking path goes up and kind of loops around over there right now. But this would have been the swimming pool at Simple Park. Up the hill was a little place called the Wise Retreat.
I'm glad you mentioned that name because I happen to have a question about Jacob Wise.
Cool.
A marker venerates Jacob Wise, a mayor of Massillon and first manager of the Pro Tigers. Where is the marker in his honor? Oh, Alice, somebody in town is observant.
She watched, you saw it? Where was it?
It's on Lincoln Way, just to the west of Simple Park, at the far end from where we're looking.
Okay.
Good job.
All right, cool. While you're up in the area, you might stop at the old reservoir, which is, this picture looks like it when they built the joint. Or you can take a dip back in the resi. I thought it was interesting when they were dredging the reservoir, the dredgers said that they pulled up some look like old pilings or old wood from a foundation or a pier or something. That may very well have been this. It looks like a floating dock out there and a little walkway that goes down there. You used to swim out there too? Until it stopped freezing. We used to wash our car in there too until it used to eat the paint off of it. If you were going outside of town and driving around, you might run into a few billboards. You might see this one that says, stopping at Massillon, stop at the Hotel Siler. 1.5. If you want a bath, extra 50 cents. Stop in at Rhines Edison shop and buy yourself a DeForest radio. Stop in at Gensimer Brothers, Massillon's largest department store. Of course, Gensimer Brothers was later Stark Dry Goods, which is now the Massillon Museum. 5 big stores. I love this one. If you're out driving around, first thing you want to think of is, what kind of vault should I buy when I die? That's always what I think of right away. So Arnold, it's either that or if your eyes are bad, it looks like a loaf of bread. It's one or the other. But C.L. Arnold Company, yes, would stick that thing up there. If you're driving out and about, you might see something called the Massillon Club Company. This was a club that was formed by Massillon businessmen, originally called the Wycolin Company. It folded. It then became the Massillon Club Company. It folded, and it became something else. Shut up, Sparks.
We hired you to talk about things on the
You heard him, didn't you? You heard him. Okay, Willowdale Lake. Willowdale Lake, yeah. One of the reasons that I like to do these kind of shows is for this reason, like this old piece of sheet music says, just to help keep Massillon on the map. We're done with the slides.
We're done.
That's it.